Washington Capitals 3 in Game 6, and the Islanders have won the series 4-2, and they'll now face the Pittsburgh Penguins. Here is the game summary. There's so many other stories involved, but Hunter got the opening goal and wasn't around for the finish of the game tonight. His 7th goal of the series for Melinuck and Kristich at 9:58. Steve Thomas tied it at 15:46. A pass from King, Turgeon as well, and it's 1-1 with Thomas's 3rd goal of the series. In the second period, the Islanders will score twice. Benoit Hogue's goal is shorthanded, unassisted at 2:41. Brad Delgarno's first ever Stanley Cup playoff goal comes just before the period ended, and the Islanders, with assists from Mullen and Green on that goal, have themselves a 3-1 lead after 2 periods. What turns out to be the game-winning goal, Travis Green, his 2nd from Mullen and Healy at 9:58 of the 3rd period. Turgeon, unassisted at the 11:29 mark. His 4th goal is what set off the big melee, and Hunter tossed from the game. There were a lot of other penalties as well, but a nasty scene and an injury to Turgeon in that play. Krieger will get a shorthanded goal at 15:19. Kristich assisting, and then Ali Afraidy on a power play goal from Miller at 16:30, and the Caps were getting back into it, but no further than that as the Islanders hold on for a 5-3 win. Shots on goal, 12-7 Islanders in the first, 14-3 in the second period. The Caps dominating in that department in the third, 16-7. They're outshot 33-26. One of the big stories tonight and in this series, the play of Steve Thomas, and he is with Stan Fischler.
Well, thanks, Jig. Steve is here for a lot of reasons. First of all, he got the big goal that put the Islanders back in the hockey game. But over the season, we've seen him flower as a leader on this hockey team, a man who's not afraid to stand up and speak his mind. And I want you to speak your mind about this hockey game and this team and the win, first of all.
Well, the win, well, like, you know, what can you say? We won the series. We beat a heck of a hockey team in Washington, and we're happy to be where we are right now. But we have to sit back and reflect on what we did well and think about the next series. We're coming up against a better hockey team.
Now, you played a team that finished ahead of you, a team that had a lot of good hockey players, some of the best defensive scoring in the league. How did you manage to win? What was the decisive factors that enabled the Islanders to win?
Well, I think this game was a very pivotal game for us. I mean, it won us a series, but we at the same time came out and played a strong, focused 60 minutes of hockey. I think in the past games, we found that we were, you know, playing the last 10, 12 minutes of the game and making comebacks and going into overtime, which was unbelievable. Showed a lot of character by our hockey players. But I think tonight's game we played for 60 minutes, and penalty killers played well, power play was good, and even strength. Everything was together tonight.
Now, one of the concerns of Islander fans in the first period was that the team came out like shot out of a cannon, but you had nothing to show for it. Washington scored the goal. It was a bad break. Huey Krupp, his skates went out from under him. They got a 3-on-1. They get the goal, and they're a good defensive team. And I thought that that might have deflated the club, but this team has a lot of second and third wins, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I mean. We've got a lot of character on our team. We've only got like 4 or 5 guys that have ever been in the playoffs, and the guys stepped up and showed a lot of character and a lot of guts, and that's what it takes for us to win.
Steve, the good news, bad news situation. The good news, the Islanders winning the game, winning the series. The bad news, and the very unfortunate episode, Dale Hunter, way after the goal was scored, ramming Pierre Turgeon from behind, and we don't know the extent of the injury. Your comments on the play?
Well, I don't know what's going on with Pierre right now. I think he hurt his shoulder, but very poor sportsmanship on Dale Hunter's part. I know he's a competitor and everything, but that was a cheap shot. And to think that he'd do something like that on a national television hockey game where we're trying to get some notoriety throughout the southern part of the states and throughout the hockey world, and that's just uncalled for, and it's way out of line, I think.
One of the aspects of it that made it so distasteful, and here, let's just tell me about the move he makes on the goal.
Well, when Pierre gets a chance like that, he doesn't usually miss them. That's just something I don't ever want to see.
Do you feel that since Commissioner Gary Bettman is here right now at the game, do you think he might take any action on this, and what do you think would be appropriate?
Well, I think it's an obvious attempt to put one of the best players in the league out of the lineup, and the fact that he probably knew that they were going to lose the game, and I think that's a cop-out by him, and not going through 60 minutes to try and get their team back in the game, and it's also very very, you know, I think it's a stab in the back. It's just awful, I think.
Now, the Islander Hockey Club has a bit of a rest. You're going to be facing the Pittsburgh Penguins, the two-time world champions. They wrapped up the Devils in 5 games. Your feelings about the prospects of playing Pittsburgh?
Well, we played pretty well against them in their building this year. We won 2 games. One game was without Mario. The other one we held them scoreless. I don't know if we won that game or not, but we compete very hard against that team because we're scared all the time. I think more than anything, and we're going to have to play our best hockey. Everyone's going to have to be playing their best hockey and to be able to compete with them or possibly beat them.
Well, the man is the epitome of perseverance and grim determination. He got the goal that put the Islanders back into the hockey game. He's become one of the key leaders of the Islanders. Jiggs?
All right, Stan, yeah, we'll just pick up on that word leader. Leadership is so important at a time like this, and the unknowns now with the injury to Turgeon, and we saw Benoit Hogue. The hand seemed to be bothering him when he left as well. Not too much time between now and Sunday afternoon either, is there?
It goes very quickly, Jiggs, and before we get away from that, I remember back during this series, so many times you saw Dale Hunter and Steve Thomas nose to nose, sometimes not saying anything. It reminded me of 2 prize fighters before the fight when they'd stand there and stare at each other, and it epitomized the intensity that was in their hearts and in their minds and in this hockey game and in this whole series. And the unfortunate part of it all is what they were just describing, that it is uncalled for, it's unsightly, and there isn't really any room in this wonderful game that has so many great aspects to have someone do that. That is selfish, and it just doesn't represent what all of the hockey players want to have their game represent.
Back in our pregame show tonight, the final segment, familiarity or contempt. Contempt in huge letters, capital letters all the way across on that play by Hunter.
That's just a great analogy, and it reminds us of some of the things that we've seen in the past and some of the things that we do not want to see in the future.
Glenn Healy got to start every game in this series and wins all 4 of the Islander victories. Is joined Stan Fischler. Stan?
Oh, thanks, Jiggs. He looked like Horatio at the bridge in the early part of the 3rd period when Washington threw everything but the kitchen sink, if you'll excuse the bromide, at you, and you held the fort when it counted. Let's go back. Tell me about the game and the series.
Well, I think I would have stopped the kitchen sink if they threw it at me. That's bigger than the puck. But, you know, I think the guys played a great game tonight. We were very motivated right from the very beginning, and we've had some trouble with some of the starts in the games. We've gotten behind and had to always try to play catch-up. And tonight was the first time we had a 2-goal lead. And I think we did a great job of eliminating the scoring opportunities. 10 shots after 2 periods. I think any goaltender in the world would like to have that. And we fell apart a little bit in the 3rd period, but you have to give them credit. It was do-or-die time for them. And we capitalized on our chances and came away with the series win, and just a great feeling, and I'm sure all the guys are very excited.
You personally have to feel very satisfied demolishing any doubts that you are not a clutch goaltender, and this series was your opportunity to get on the podium and state your case, and you stated it very articulately in the net.
Well, thanks, Dan. I felt comfortable all season, and you know, I feel that any goaltender that plays well and wins has a great cast of players in front of them. And if you look at the efforts we've had in this series, it's just been amazing. The overtime games could have went either way, but we managed to find the determination in the locker room, and the guys came and answered the bell. And you know, I think there isn't a goaltender who doesn't win unless he's got a great supporting cast, and I've got a great supporting cast.
Well, at the end of the game, there was just a wellspring of emotion here. Tell me what's going in your mind.
Well, I knew there was only a few seconds left. I didn't want to face off, and as soon as I heard the buzzer, I was extremely pleased. I mean, just you think of all the hard work that goes into something like this, the training in the summer, the workouts in training camp, the long season, just to get to this point. And we fought so much adversity to get to that point that it was just a super feeling. And to beat a team like Washington, a team that the experts or so-called experts picked to beat us in 6, and we take them in 6, it's just exceptional.
Glenn, I'm told, and this is secondhand, but somebody told me that in the hallway there was another burst of emotion. Apparently Dale Hunter was going to do an interview, and Ray Ferraro saw him, and Ray apparently tried to get at him. Now, there's got to be a huge sting being suffered by the entire Islander team over the Hunter episode. Your feelings?
Well, I had a tremendous amount of respect for Dale Hunter before this evening. You know, I feel he's a grinding player. He works hard. He works hard for his goals. But tonight he displayed the epitome of cheapness. I think no player needs to be hit in that situation. Pierre was totally relaxed. The goal was 3 seconds in, and obviously feeling the frustration from the series. And like I said, I've just lost a tremendous amount of respect for that man. And I hope the NHL comes down on things like that, because there's no room in this league for that type of behavior.
Congratulations again. A tremendous performance through the series and especially in tonight's game. Jegs?
All right, Stan, yes, the spotlight certainly has been switched to this series now, and the outcome of tonight's game is one thing. What happens with Dale Hunter, how it's handled, is another. The Islanders go on to meet Pittsburgh, and we go on to what is the Budweiser play of the game.
Boy, I'll tell you, this is not an easy one, Jigs, but I have to think back to the fourth goal. It turns out to be the winning goal, but what it really did was Brad Delgarno had scored, and Travis Green, you know, when you think about the Mullins, the Loisel's, the Travis Greens, the Brad Delgarnos, the guys in the trenches, I'll tell you, this goal did so much for the fans, for the team, and for Travis Green. There was several things he could have done. He could have tried to beat Al Iafrate, and then the goaltender. He could have made a pass to two players, Delgarno on his right and coming late Pilon, but he opted to go for the net, the right thing to do, and it turns out to be the Budweiser play of the game, the winning goal, the fourth goal for the Islanders by Travis Green.
The Islanders couldn't win a game at home in the regular season against the Washington Capitals. They win all three in the semifinal round in the Patrick Division playoffs. 5-3 is the final tonight. Islanders win the series in 6. We'll have more from the Coliseum right after this. In Game 6 here at the Nassau Coliseum tonight, we have just had an update from Vice President of Communications of the New York Islanders, Pat Calabria, telling a member of our staff, don't expect Pierre Turgeon in the lineup Sunday for Game 1. That will be the Islanders in Pittsburgh. The report that we're getting, not good news for Islander fans, that Pierre Turgeon, excuse me, probably will not be able to play in Game 1. As to Benoit Hogue, we know that he'd had an injured finger. We saw him leave after that fight that followed the Hunter incident with Turgeon. We don't know what the prognostication is on his return to the lineup either. There was one other playoff game tonight, and that ended in a victory for the Montreal Canadiens. And as we check for Nobody Beats the Wiz, we find that the next matchup there to decide the Adams division will be between the Buffalo Sabres and the Montreal Canadiens. So Buffalo, who finished 4th, and Montreal, who finished 2nd, will be going head-to-head. For Montreal tonight, a hat trick by Paul DiPietro. He got his first career goal and then added 2 more. Muller had his 3rd, Dion his 3rd. And the other news, of course, is that Ed Ronan out of Boston University, a draft pick in 1987, the 227th player chosen, opened the scoring for the Canadiens, who went on to a 6-2 win. Lapointe and Sakic were the goal scorers for Quebec. Hextall didn't last the entire game. So the Montreal Canadiens have won the opening round of the playoffs for 10 consecutive years with that 6-2 win over Quebec, and winning that series also in 6. Out west, there are still 2 games or 2 series left. The Vancouver Canucks lead Winnipeg 3-2. They go into Winnipeg tomorrow night. And Los Angeles, leading their series 3-2, will be at home tomorrow night as well with the Calgary Flames. The skinny from tonight's Islander win, here it is. Let's check it out. Point 1. First home playoff win in regulation time since the 30th of April, 1987, a series with the Philadelphia Flyers. Yes, all the past 6 victories have been in overtime. Islanders, Penguins, 2 previous playoff series, both won by the Islanders by 1 goal in the deciding game, but that was long before the Penguins started their run. The Islanders' 5th win in 6 playoff series against the Washington Capitals as they oust them in 6 games. Glenn Healy, one of the key stories, and of course the Islanders tonight with a 5-3 win. And the final score is the New York Islanders 5, the Caps 3. Remember, tomorrow at 7:30, the New Jersey Nets play Game 1 of the NBA playoffs against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Islanders will be back on Sports Channel next Tuesday night at 7:30 for Game 2 of their series with Pittsburgh. Coming up next, live from Candlestick Park, the Mets and the Giants, the game already in progress. Now for Ed Westfall and Stan Fischler, I'm Jigs McDonald saying so long till next Tuesday, and thanks for watching New York Islanders hockey on Sports Channel.